The Brexit Secretary, David Davis, has called on MPs to reject Lord's amendments on the Brexit Bill passing through Parliament and to give Theresa May a free hand in negotiations with the European Union. Speaking this morning, he said that it would not be acceptable for Parliament to try to reverse the will of the British people. Labour says it will fight for the amendments in the Commons tomorrow. Our political correspondent, Susana Mendonça, has more detail.
The latest instalment in the battle to trigger Brexit takes centre stage here tomorrow, and the government's warning MPs, including potential rebels on its own side, not to stand in its way.
What we can't have is either House of Parliament reversing the decision of the British people. They haven't got a veto on.
I don't think anybody's talking about that.
Well, what does it mean otherwise? You know, people talk about meaningful vote. What does it mean otherwise?
This is how the timetable has unfolded. Last week, the House of Lords passed the second of two amendments to the government's Article 50 bill. Tomorrow, the bill goes back to the Commons, where MPs could reject the amendments and pass the bill back to the Lords. If the upper house backs down, the bill will proceed to royal assent, allowing Theresa May to trigger Article 50. If the Lords doesn't back down, it could go back to the Commons in a process known as ping-pong, and Labour insists it will fight for the amendments to stand.
What we say to the Prime Minister, and I wrote to her on Friday to say, reflect on what the House of Lords has said. By majorities of nearly 100, they've sent back two really important issues, this issue of the EU nationals and the issues of the vote. Reflect on that. Don't just have this obsession with getting Article 50 triggered this week.
The Prime Minister's been doing the legwork with her EU partners ahead of triggering Brexit, but some are worried that there isn't enough planning going on for the prospect of no deal at the end of it all.
If there is going to be no deal, that is going to have serious implications for businesses and individuals, and the government needs to make sure we have planned for it.
But the Brexit Secretary says he has got a plan.
The simple truth is we have been planning for the contingency, all the various outcomes, all the possible outcomes of the
including a proper plan for no deal?
Oh yes, oh yes.
Whatever that plan may be, the government has to get permission from this place first before it can get those negotiations going.
And Susanna's with me here in the studio, and there's been some scathing criticism of the PEA from a senior Tory.
Yes, this is Michael Heseltine, the former Deputy Prime Minister. He's in the Lords. People might remember that he got sacked from his government advisor job last week because he rebelled and supported one of those Lords amendments on this Brexit, on the triggering of Article 50. Now, what he said is that there are a number of Tories who feel appalled and betrayed by the way that Theresa May has dealt with the whole issue. And he points to the loss of this seat in Richmond last year, the Richmond by-election, where Zac Goldsmith lost to the Liberal Democrats. And he actually says that that's a bigger issue for a lot of Tories than the Conservative win in Copeland last month when they beat Labour. And what he says is that the Conservatives are not just fleas following the ringmaster, that they have their own views on Europe and their own concerns, and they want the Prime Minister to listen.
Susanna, thank you.